The Samsung Galaxy S3 is the brand new flagship phone from the Korean-based company Samsung. This new Android phone is the next incarnation of the ever-popular S series. This phone is easily the most anticipated phone of the year, with much speculation around the device before the announcement made on May the 3rd. The type of anticipation that is usually only associated with an Apple device. The pebbled look on this device is inspired by nature, as Samsung put it, but many people find device's design much like Marmite. Some people love it, some people hate it. It looks more like the Samsung Galaxy Nexus rather than its predecessor, the Samsung Galaxy S2. The device is a very premium looking phone with a polycarbonate backing, which is not at all flimsy, and it does not flex. Protecting the front of your device is Corning's Gorilla Glass 2, which is a scratch-resistant glass used in most devices. On the front of the device, there is a physical home button and two capacitive buttons, the menu key and the back key. On the top, there's a phone grille, sensors, and a 1.4 front-facing camera for video calls. On the right side, there is the unlock button. On the left side, there's a volume rocker. On the rear, there's an 8 megapixel camera with some pretty neat features we'll talk about later. Speaker grille, and the flash. At the very top, there's a microphone and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The device is very premium and fits nicely in the hand. It only weighs 133 grams, despite packing some neat features, like a 4.8-inch Super AMOLED HD screen with a 720p resolution. The screen is beautifully displaying Android 4.0 with Samsung's own TouchWiz user interface, dubbed Nature UX. As like normal Android devices, it has several home screens, all customizable with different widgets, like this, and different shortcuts, like this. All of this runs bustily smooth thanks to the 1.4 GHz Samsung quad-core Exynos processor, along with 1 GB of RAM. Samsung's new user interface is one of the least offensive user interfaces that I've used, as everything is bustily smooth. This device packs some neat features, such as S-Voice, which is a much like SIII app. You can do several neat things with this app. For example, what is the weather in London today?
Brief showers today. The current temperature is 12 degrees.
And then it comes up with the current weather of London. You can ask it several other features, such as texting someone or calling someone. Even the lock screen is inspired by nature. Every time you touch it, ripples occur on the screen. There are also other features on the lock screen, such as information ticker, which gives you several different information. You can also launch S-Voice, the Siri sort of. You can also see the weather, check your battery and network, and open shortcuts by just swiping up. There are also different motion actions you can do on this device. For example, you can quickly open the camera app from the home screen by tapping on the screen and turning the device. Opens up the camera app. The camera app is one of the most intuitive camera apps I've ever used, but it isn't as polished as the HTC One X's. You've got different features and settings here, such as panorama and burst shot. All of these settings are customizable by a drag and drop interface, much like the other screens. The camera on this device has no lag whatsoever. As soon as you press, it takes a picture instantly with zero shutter lag. When recording 1080p video, you can also take pictures at the same time, like this, which takes 6 megapixel stills. This camera, I have to say, is one of the best cameras I've ever used, producing some good shots that matches my compact camera. Producing some great shots. Like this. And there's a lot of detail. See if when I zoom in, all the detail is still retained, such as these small specks on the bell. It also does well in dark light situations, capturing a lot of detail with not a lot of noise. The messaging app is also highly customizable, with abilities to change the colour of the bubble and the background. The keyboard on this device is very easy to use one-handed, and it's much like the stock Android 4.0 keyboard, which we quite love. The landscape keyboard is slightly weird as it does not feel quite tall enough for quick typing, unlike some other devices. As this is an Android 4.0 device, you can quickly switch between different tasks. Usually, with these type of devices, there's an extra key instead of the menu key, which allows you to quickly switch. But in this case, since they have added the menu key, you have to long hold the physical home button. This brings up a task launcher, which you can easily switch from one app to another. Just like that. And when you're done with one app, you can simply swipe it off in whichever way you want. Another cool feature on this device is the video player. The video player allows you to watch stills of all your videos. If I open this video, for example, there's also this neat feature at the bottom which is called pop-up play. When you press this, your video becomes minimized, and you can say text message someone, search the web, all while watching a video, which I think is a pretty neat feature. And as you can see, everything still runs really smooth while the video is playing in the background. You can move this video around just by holding and turning it. And when you want to go back to the video, you double press it. Then it's back to the video. Another feature allows you to stop it when you put your hand to the screen. And it's stopped. Then to play. Another one of the features is to make screenshots. You can do this simply by swiping your hand from one side to the other. Like so. This phone is undoubtedly the best Android device in the market to date. I think this phone will appeal to users who might have owned iPhones in the past and just sick of them because of their boring iOS user interface, who are thinking of switching to Android but know of Android's old lag. But this lag has been totally destroyed by the 1.4 GHz quad-core processor on this device. The nice user interface runs really smoothly with no lag whatsoever. It also might appeal to people who just want a large screen. This screen is quite large, but it's not as large as the Galaxy Note where it's hard to hold. This is easy to hold with a lot of grip. At the same time being very crystal clear and nice and appealing to the eye. Overall, this phone has some killer other features which will truly attract any person who's looking out to get a new phone. This phone is definitely on top of my recommendation list, and I would give it 5 out of 5 stars if I had to. So if you're in the mood for buying a new phone, or just looking for a new phone to be your daily driver, why don't you stop getting iPhones and just pick up the new Samsung Galaxy S3. That's all today. Goodbye.